How are you,
Hello,
dude?
sir. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am okay. I'm hanging in there. It's an interesting week, interesting time,
Yeah, absolutely.
a little bit. First of all, dude, I gotta tell you, man. I've been watching your career for a while. I've seen your work in Shameless, which is just
Oh, yeah.
astounding, man.
Oh, that's
Seriously,
very kind of you to say. Thank you.
no problem. Here's the thing: horror has never seemed to be your genre. What 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 happened? How did you get involved in the rental?
Yeah, I think I've always been a fan of horror as a genre, as an audience member. But yeah, you're right. I never did it myself, and I think it was just it was the talent that was kind of surrounding the project. I was a fan of Dave Franco's who wrote it, fan of Joe Swanberg's who wrote it with Dave. Um, they had already cast Alison. Brie was obviously already involved, and I was a fan of hers. Dan Stevens, even, behind the camera as well. Christian Springer is our DP. I'm a big fan of his. Um, so I was just really impressed with kind of the talent that Dave had collected, and I thought, if I'm gonna do a movie like this, why not surround myself with all these folks that I admire and I can probably learn something from.
Well, here's what I watch a lot of horror. I grew up on horror, and I've always, you always see the tropes. There's something really different about this film, and the fact that this is a character drama for a good portion of the movie.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that was our approach. I think Dave kind of wanted the as much of the movie to feel like that as possible, and that was certainly our approach as the actors was to kind of just focus on the relationships between the partners, between Josh and Mina and Michelle and Charlie, and then also I think one of the more interesting relationships to kind of explore was the relationship for me was the relationship between brothers, between Josh and Charlie, and kind of trying to figure out their history because obviously they kind of ended up very different people. So it was kind of fun to try and come up with their background and narrative and how that fit in with everything.
Well, what did you come up with? Because I think Josh is such an interesting character because he's a very realistic character. There's a lot of guys like him, a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think what attracted me to Josh was he was just so kind of tragic, almost like to a point of like hilarity. When you meet him, he's already kind of had it so rough. Like,
Yeah.
I really feel like he's a well-meaning guy who has a temper, and he's just like a bit of a screw up. You know what I mean? That's what he's like. And then he's met this girl who seems to be really interested in him, Mina, who's just like smart and beautiful and capable. And so at the beginning of the movie, I was kind of rooting for him, like, oh man, here it is. Here's his chance. Like, maybe things will be okay. And then, of course, just like thing after thing after thing happened to the point in which by the end of the movie, I was like applauding Josh's kind of demise. I was like, just take him out of his misery. He's had enough. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's true for everyone in this film because
Sure.
it doesn't approach the characters as, oh well, we have the smart one, we have the jock, and a lot of horror tends to do that. There's a
Sure.
very
Sure.
well balanced moral ambiguity through all these characters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think one of the major themes of the movie is trust. I know that's a reason, one of the main reasons why Dave kind of decided to focus the script on Airbnb in the first place,
Yeah.
or rentals, because in our day-to-day lives, generally we don't trust strangers very much, but we do trust them to stay in their home, and hope that nothing will happen. So there's that aspect of trust. And then I think the kind of also scary part of this movie is, you know, these are two partners going away for a weekend and two brothers who should all have a certain amount of like understanding and trust for one another. I mean, they should all be very close, and then you kind of start to realize it's built on nothing. There is no trust, and you know, even if there was no larger menacing figure in this movie, it's already kind of scary. These relationships are already just kind of like scary to me anyway when I was reading it.
Well, I think that's true. I think some of the best horror movies are from that. You know, you look at movies like
Sure.
Hereditary or The
Yeah,
Strangers. There's issues there, and
absolutely.
and that's why I think this film is so grounded too. And you're like, okay. By the end of it, I was like, well, this is terrifying. This could
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. I think there's something. You know, I think that was another thing that attracted me to this sort of brand of horror was it seemed like it was, I don't know about plausible, but certainly like the beginning of the movie is fitted on a plausible idea, you know, that you're being watched, that there's someone watching you, and you're unaware, you know, that's a real fear, especially when staying in other people's homes. So I think, yeah, there's a horror there that is grounded in something very real, and I'm sure that any audience member can recognize that fear, you know.
Absolutely. Now,
Yeah.
when I was talking to Dave about this, and I've I've had the pleasure of talking to Dave a few times.
Oh,
He had a
nice.
lot of nice things to say about you, like just a
Oh
very
man,
incredibly talented, blah blah blah. And I tend to agree with him. But how was
that's
it
very
working
nice.
with him? Oh, you're welcome. How was it working with him and finding that kind of bond between actor director?
Yeah, it was pretty immediate. I mean, Dave, I mean, you've gotten to talk to him a couple times, is one of the kindest people I've ever met. Like, first of all,
Absolutely.
which is great when you're being approached by someone like that to do a project with them, you know. So he had reached out to me, and we'd met a couple times, and to talk about the movie before we went off to do it. And the first thing that struck me was just how, yeah, genuine and kind he was, and the second thing was how intelligent he was. You know, I mean, the sort of like the comps he was referring to, in his film taste and stuff like that, it was just so kind of impressive. And I think we really like lined up in our tastes in a lot of ways. And we built room for trust, I think, you know, in our relationship really early on. And I think also the fact that, you know, he's an actor and a really good actor, you know, you feel very safe, you know, when you're on set with him as a director. You feel like he won't let you do anything too ridiculous. Like, it's a safe space. You can fall on your face, and you know, because he's an actor and he's been in positions like that, you know, that it's not going to end up in the movie. You're going to be taken care of, and you know, he's going to cut it together in a really a nice way. But yeah, I can't say enough nice stuff about the guy. He's a gem for sure.
Now, it seems like just a perfect ensemble of actors and filmmakers to do a film like this. It seems like there's a lot of trust in the ironically, in the making of a movie about trust.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, everybody got along really quickly. You know, like I said before, it's a small movie, you know, small crew, very small cast. It was really the four of us. Toby Huss, who's amazing in the movie, was around, but only like for a couple days here and there. So really, it was like a month, or more like 6 weeks, and the four of us actors, really with each other all day, every day, even on the weekends. We were in this small town called Bandon, Oregon, which is very, very beautiful. It's where we shot the movie, but it was so small, there really wasn't very much to do. So we all just spent our time together, which was really lovely, and we all got along really well.
Nice. Now,
Yeah.
I've got to ask, with, you know, having all those years with Shameless and spending that time with that character and really getting to know him, do you miss that kind of playing that one character and continuing on and exploring it? Are you kind of enjoying kind of going out there and doing other things right now?
I think I'm enjoying doing other things when I can. But I'm certainly a little, we're supposed to do one more season of Shameless, and so it's going to be interesting to finally, I think, really say goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm obviously very fond of the character, and I just feel like it's really interesting how I've just been doing it for so long. Our lives parallel one another. You know what I mean? I grow with the character and change with the character. So it will be strange. I as like silly and actory as it sounds, I think when I do say goodbye to the show and to the character, it will be kind of like saying goodbye to a very small part of myself, and I think that'll be kind of sad and scary, but also exciting to obviously explore some other stuff.
Is there some where you'd like to see the show go, at least with your character? Is there some place that you don't have to say, obviously, but is there somewhere you'd like to go with it?
Yeah, I mean, I've always wanted Lip to stay in the South Side,
Mm-hmm.
and there were times when it seemed like he was going to get out, and I think I'm speaking selfishly. I think he was going to get out and do very well for himself and make some money or go to school, and so I think I'm being selfish and staying. I want to keep Lip on the South Side, but he's gotten really involved in going to in AA and sponsoring some younger kids and stuff like that, and so anyway, I think I'd like to see Lip kind of stay in the South Side and sort of just pay it forward and help kids like he's been doing with his siblings kind of his whole life.
Nice. Well, what else is next for you? We've just got a minute or so. What's coming up for you after this?
I mean, it's the last season, so we were supposed to start our last season mid-March, and obviously, that didn't happen.
Stuff happened, yeah.
yeah, some stuff happened. So that's really it. I mean, I think like everything in the industry is they're trying to figure out what can go and where it can go. We shoot the majority of the show here in Los Angeles, and it's kind of a crazy time here in Los Angeles as well as a lot of the country right now. So we're trying to figure out when we can go back and do that, and then we'll see. I think there's a lot of question marks still, but I know that we will do our last season at some point, which I'm looking forward to getting back to work for sure.
I'm sure, man. And, thank you for taking the time out. I honestly think this is going to get a lot of eyes on you. I think this movie is really, so far, one of my favorite films of the year, honestly.
Oh, man, that's really, really kind. Thank you so much for saying that. And Dave must be, I hope you told Dave. I'm sure he's so happy to hear it.
I did. I adore Dave. So I was like, I had to tell him. I'm like, oh, you're so good, man. I'm so proud of you. Well, man,
cool. That's great.
It was a real pleasure, and thank you. Actually, I had an eye injury, so sorry, it was a little dark.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I literally almost went blind in this.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay now,
good.
but it was a little I guess I got I have a permanent scar, and I'm like, woo, awesome.
Oh man. All right. Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Dude, congratulations on just on everything. You're a really nice guy. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Absolute pleasure speaking to you. Thanks so much, man. Hope to speak to you again soon.